We all know that Berserk is filled with incredibly powerful characters, both human, some not so human, and whatever the hell you consider trolls. But even with apostles able to lift hundreds of pounds over their head, and guts able to swing a giant hunk of iron that no regular human, other than my main man Ronnie Coleman, could possibly lift. There are still some Berserk characters, though, that I think I could totally take in a fight and declare myself a definitive spot within the D-tier list of characters in the manga. So, here are 10 Berserk characters that I think I could totally beat the crap out of, probably. At number 10, Adonis. He might be royalty, he might have some intense sword training under his belt that I do not, but this kid is a whiny punk that can't even remember to knock on a door properly before entering a room and wound up paying the ultimate price for it. This proves that whatever training that he did have, he totally squanders it when it matters most. He doesn't keep up his guard, and he's also like 10 years old, and I can totally beat up a 10-year-old, so yeah, this is a very easy win for me. Now, number 9 is going to be the female apostle from the opening chapter of the manga, and I know what you guys are thinking. How am I, a 5'5" ginger man who hasn't trained any proper martial arts in over a decade, going to take down the ultimate foe that killed the legendary warrior Corcus? Well, it's very simple, you see. I'm just going to do the same thing that Guts did. She's going to lure me into the forest with her feminine wiles. I'm going to pretend I'm into it. Like, yeah, baby, show me that apostasy. Then I'm going to get all up in those demon cheeks after I put on 3 condoms at least because, I don't want whatever she's been through. And then, mid-coitus, I'm just going to take out my cleverly stashed arm cannon and blow her away the same way that Guts did. Really, I'm going to be blowing 2 cannons at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. At number 8, I got Magnifico. Yeah, Farnese's brother. Well, one of them anyway. The only one that stays in the story past 1 page. The only one worth remembering, if you can even go that far. Look, he might be taller than me, but the man is a certified pansy, and he's totally just getting drunk all the time and not really paying attention to much. We've never really seen him fight, and that's probably because he's very bad at it. I'm going to get him sloshed because he loves to drink, and when he tries throwing some jabs at me, I will easily evade them all and go for that glass jaw of his, which is gigantic. His face gets more exaggerated as the manga goes on, I swear. Boom, he's down. Next. Number 7 is going to be that one nobleman's son, who never really has a specific name, but this is from the Spring Flowers of Distant Days flashback. You know, that rich, pampered punk kid that's never been in a real battle, so they wanted to starve and exhaust Guts for a few days so that this kid could have an easy win, feel better about himself. Yeah, this guy is overweight, inexperienced, and he wears this full male armor from head to toe because he's afraid of getting hurt. He's big, but he's got no skill, and he's also got no endurance. I would just run circles around him until he became so exhausted that he could barely move in that armor, and just like Guts did, as soon as he let his guard down, I would go for the eyes, take off his helmet, and when he starts screaming and crying, I'd move in for some finishing blows. Just gotta showcase my cardio skills, and he's an easy act. At number 6, I have the Frog Apostle. Now, there is some hesitation here. We don't know anything about the Frog Apostle as a character. Who was he? What kind of man would sacrifice something so precious to him only to have his inner evil and darkness manifest into this horrid monstrosity of a frog?
I'm a frog.
All the strength and power and increased ability that comes with the apostle transformations, and he's a frog. What do we know about frogs? 6,000 species of frogs are known to exist, and scientists are always discovering more. Frogs are cold-blooded, meaning that their body temperature changes with the temperature of their surroundings. When the temperatures drop, some frogs dig burrows underground or in the mud at the bottom of ponds. They hibernate in these burrows until spring, completely still and scarcely breathing. The wood frog can live in North America in the Arctic Circle, surviving for weeks with 65% of its body frozen. The frog uses glucose in its blood as a kind of antifreeze that concentrates its vital organs, protecting them from damage while the rest of the body freezes solid. An Australian water-holding frog is a desert dweller that can wait until 7 years for rain. It burrows underground and surrounds itself in the transparent cocoon it makes with its own shedded skin. Frogs are freshwater creatures, although some frogs, such as the Florida leopard frog, are able to live in the brackish or nearly completely salted waters. Almost all frogs fertilize the eggs outside of the female's body. The male holds the female around the waist while the mating happens, and the hug is called amplexus. He fertilizes the eggs at the same time that the female lays them, and plexus can last for hours or days. Imagine that, you're just banging a frog but really just squirting jizz on her eggs for days. One pair of the Andean toads stayed in this amblyplex for 4 months. Jesus. The gastric brooding frog of Australia swallows her fertilized eggs. The tadpoles remain inside of her stomach for 8 weeks, finally hopping out of her mouth as little frogs. During this brooding period, gastric secretions increase, otherwise she would digest her own offspring. Among the Darwin frogs is the male frog who swallows and stores the developing tadpoles in his vocal sac until the juvenile frogs emerge. And even though most lifespans of frogs are still unknown, frogs in captivity have been known to live more than 20 years. And did you guys know that toads are actually frog? The word toad is usually used for frogs that have warty and dry skin, as well as shortened hind legs. Also, the technical term for a group of frogs is called an army. Luckily, there's only one here. There is a frog in Indonesia who has no lungs at all, and it breathes entirely through its skin. And the biggest known frog in the world is the Goliath frog. It lives in West Africa and can measure more than a foot in length and weigh more than 7 pounds. That's as much as a newborn baby. And with all these facts considered and put together, what does it mean for battling this creature to the death? Well, I mean, it's a frog. I can beat a frog. At number 5, I have Minister Foss. Do I need to explain this one? He's old, he's fat, he's probably got balance problems. I don't know, just look at him. If you can't beat this guy in a fight, you should just give up on life. At number 4, I have the Pontiff. The Pontiff is old as fuck. He can barely stand. In fact, when he was first introduced in the manga, he was on his deathbed waiting for the good Lord to take him away before Mule and Sonya showed up and brought him into the light and showed him the Antichrist that was alive and well on Earth, ready to bring everyone towards salvation. I feel like it's okay to beat up the Pontiff, not because he's old, but because he's solidifying everyone's feelings and emotions on Griffith, giving them that divine authority on Earth, and that's just not okay with me. How do you go around calling this guy the Falcon of Light when you don't even know that you're worshipping a swirling void of evil and darkness? Ignorance may be bliss, but it's also the reason why you're getting knocked out. At number 3, I got Owen. Look, I really got nothing against Owen. He seems like a pretty chill guy. He survived living through the plague in Midland. He survived the hostile takeover by Ganishka. But I still feel like I have to kick his ass because, number 1, that haircut. And number 2, I'm actually kind of low-key extremely jealous of his friendship with Laban. I wish that was me.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Number 2, I'm going to have the King of Midland. I think everyone agrees that they would want to beat the shit out of this guy. I mean, the man is sitting around dreaming about banging his own daughter. If that's not disgusting enough, later on he actually tries to do it. He's always sending other people to fight his battles for him, and he probably hasn't had any proper training for years. I just want to bring the heat down and punch this guy's stupid face until I can't even recognize it anymore. And finally, at the number 1 spot of Berserk characters whose butts I could totally kick, and this one is personal. This is Joaquin from the Conviction arc. How are you going to be such a simp that even after your girlfriend leads you down into a satanic cave orgy, she drugs you, she makes you kiss some goat man's snake penis, she's responsible for you being thrown off a cliff that somehow you remarkably survive, how, after all of that, are you actually going to take her back? Oh, no, it's okay, honey. I know you gave me STDs and made me watch 3 other dudes go ham on you and also had me eat some dead baby stew and then threw me into a chasm naked towards my own certain doom. But your blonde curls are just so cute that I have to stay with you. Like, let's go on an adventure, baby. Like, what is wrong with you, bro? If Joaquin isn't dead by now by hanging out with Nina, I would be shocked. I feel like I really need to knock some sense into this boy, and the only way that I can think to do it is just with the quickest and hardest of punches. Joaquin, I'm not going to let you keep making the same mistakes over and over. If you were my child, I'd want to protect you, and the only way I could think to do that is by punching you.
I'm gonna slap some sense into you!
So anyways, guys, there you have it. Those are 10 Berserk characters who I could totally beat in a fight. Let me know what you think of my list, if you agree with it, and tell me down below in the comments, who do you think you could defeat if you had to fight somebody from Berserk? Other than that, guys, thank you all for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. Check the links in the description. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next time.